Hello everybody, it's Nick's Lotus, and just as fast as my mood swings, these card prices drop, so I've got a good little card pool for you guys to spend your next $20 on, and when I say good, I mean actually shockingly good for $20. Up first, we've got Hellkite Charger, coming in at 64 cents, who is 4 and 2 red for a 5/5 flying haste. Whenever Hellkite Charger attacks, you may pay 5 and 2 red. If you do, untap all attacking creatures, and after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. I mean, hey, that's a lot of mana, but if you're in Burgy, and you are in red, so you're going to have some Jessica's Wills and some Dockside Extortionist type effects in your deck, so 7 doesn't seem too bad. And for a little over 50 cents, this will bring home some games. Next, we've got Elder Brain coming in at 54 cents. 5 and 2 black for a 6/6 menace. Whenever Elder Brain attacks a player, exile all cards from that player's hand. Then they draw that many cards. You may play lands and cast spells from among the exiled cards for as long as they remained exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. Now, this thing is not great because it doesn't have haste. But if you're in like a Henzi deck where you can give it haste, or like a Cedrus deck where you can give it haste, this thing is extremely scary. And again, for a little over 50 cents. It's definitely a bomb to put in your Reanimator decks or your Haste Enabler decks or anything like that. Sunforger is next, which is a old school classic. Also, I've never noticed the little teeth on Sunforger. Have you ever noticed the little mouth on the top of the hammer? I bet you never have. I bet you never have. Coming in at 58 cents. 3 colorless for an equipment that equips for 3. Equipped creature gets +4/+0. That's pretty good stats. Pay a red and a white unattached Sunforger. Search your library for a red or white instant card with converted mana cost 4 or less and cast it without paying its mana cost. Then shuffle your library. Tutor up those Swords to Plowshares. Tutor up those Boros Charms. And just go to town, baby. Again, a little over 50 cents. Yes, this is actually very solid. Next, we got Indomitable Archangel for 27 cents, which is honestly kind of wild. 2 and 2 white for a 4/4 flying. Artifacts you control have Shroud as long as you have 3 or more artifacts. Oh, okay. I think this is going to go right into my Alayla artifact deck because, geez, just a super good card to have for artifacts, I feel like. Obviously, it's like push-up glasses. Hexproof's better if it had hexproof, obviously. But giving all your stuff Shroud's, like, super good. And a little over a quarter, yeah. Decadent Dragon's up next. It's a new one from Wilds of Eldraine for $1.18. It's 2 and 2 red for a 4/4 flying trample. Whenever Decadent Dragon attacks, create a treasure token. But you can cast it first for its adventure side, which is Expensive Taste. 2 and a black for an instant. Exile the top 2 cards of target opponent's library face down. You may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. It's pretty good. It's like pseudo card draw. It steals stuff from other people's decks. It's a big dragon that makes treasures. Like, this thing's actually pretty solid, and for a buck, I really like this thing. I wasn't sure about it, but Expensive Taste, I think, really puts the cherry on the top of this Decadent Dragon. I can't think of a Sunday word that starts with D, but you get what I'm saying. Speaking of old school powerhouses, we've got Lord of Extinction coming in at $2.66, which is cool to not see this thing at $10 to $20, so love that. 3 a black and a green for an XX. Lord of Extinction's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in all graveyards. Yeah, not creature cards, not different card types. All cards in everyone's graveyard. Yeah, I'll play 5 mana for a 20/20. I think paying 5 mana for a 15/15 seems kind of good most games. I think I like that. And again, I put this right into my Brokos Apex of Forever deck because turning Brokos into a giant thing with trample that's still a commander can be very, very scary. And again, $2. Yes, please. We've got another new card from Wilds of Eldraine, Rankle's Prank. Or I like to call it Rank's Prank or Rankle's Prankle. I don't think you can call it either. I don't think you're allowed to call it its normal name, if I'm being honest. 2 and 2 black for a sorcery. Choose 1 or more. Each player discards 2 cards. Okay. Each player loses 4 life. Okay. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures. Okay. This card's very good. This card's like Barterin Blood on steroids. I played this the other game and did all 3, and it was chaos on the board. Like, I felt like I had played a card that was pushed way too far. Like, because I put it in my Kolfenor deck, and, yeah, you can kind of see how this is ridiculous in Kolfenor. I can just discard 2 big creatures, sack 2 big creatures, reanimate 2 big creatures back to my hand, make everybody lose 4. It's so good I'm slipping into the Boston accent, if I'm being honest. Rankle's Prankle, or Rank's Prank. Pick one up. I mean, 38 cents is insane. Again, little kid me freaked out when I found out this card was 37 cents. Oversold Cemetery is 1 and a black for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. For 37 cents, I can tell you that Henzi's going to get a solid upgrade. Kolfenor got a solid upgrade. And this card's just very, very good. It reads like it's okay, but then you play with it and you're like, this is very nice to be able to just get back my creatures every one of my turns. Commander Masters coming in again clutch, dropping some card prices. We've got Steel Hellkite for 19 cents. 6 colorless for a 5/5 flying. Pay 2 colorless. Steel Hellkite gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Pay X. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value X, whose controller was dealt combat damage by Steel Hellkite this turn. Activate only once each turn. Yeah, it's like a Shivan Dragon that's colorless and wipes boards. And you can just pay 0 and wipe all the tokens off a token deck's board, all the treasures, all the clues. It seems actually even better nowadays with all the different types of tokens there are that are just way more pushed than old tokens used to be. I feel like Steel Hellkite might have a bit of a resurgence, a bit of a renaissance, if you will. Speaking of, pick one of these up, Sepulchral Primordial. I thought this was like a $5 to $10 card. It's $1. It's $1.03. 5 and 2 black for a 5/4 Intimidate. When it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, you may put 1 creature card from their graveyard onto the battlefield. Yeah, not onto the battlefield tapped, not one opponent. Each opponent, untapped, Intimidate, 5/4. It's a creature, so you can reanimate this thing and keep reusing that. So exactly what you want in a reanimator deck. I have nothing but good things to say about this card. I put it in all my decks that run black, and it is a powerhouse. So now I did talk about this one in my Wilds of Eldraine video, but just in case none of you saw that, or honestly, I don't need an excuse. This is just an insane price for a very good card. Intruder Alarm is $1.13 now. It is 2 and a blue for an enchantment. Creatures don't untap during their controller's untap steps. Whenever a creature comes into play, untap all creatures. If you're in a Londo, or if you're in like a Sika, this seems insane because it goes infinite so quickly. You just play a creature, untap your stuff, tap your stuff to play more creatures, play creatures to untap your stuff. Throw any kind of value piece in there and you pretty much win the game. Not having access to this card because it was like 10 or 20 bucks and I wasn't a CEDH player and I wasn't willing to spend that much money on a card that's like kind of a CEDH or like combo card. It's cool to have access to combo pieces and to be able to run more spiky decks in my playgroup and not feel bad about it because it's like, I don't want to be the guy that goes out and spends $20, $30, $40 on a card and then plays it and is like, hey, you don't have the $40 card. I win. You know what I mean? But now that we can both buy $1 Intruder Alarm, I'm all for that. On the same vein as Intruder Alarm, Wilds of Eldraine reprinted Sneak Attack, which has dropped it to $4.29. Again, so excited that I get to play with this card now. 3 and a red for an enchantment. You can pay 1 red. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That creature gains haste. Sacrifice the creature at the beginning of the next end step. No, I didn't misread it. You're not misreading it. It's 1 red to just put a creature into your hand, or from your hand, into play, and you just have to sack it at the end of turn. So if you have a way to end the turn, that seems really good. If you have a way to bounce the creature back to your hand, if you have a reanimation deck, again, if you're in Cedrus the Trader King, Sneak Attack seems insane. And if you got to ask yourself, do I want 2 McDoubles or do I want a Sneak Attack? I don't think you should really have to question that. I think you should be like, Sneak Attack, I can always get a McDouble. And if you don't understand that analogy, you're not fat and highly addicted to food, so good for you. Fey Burrow Elder is probably my most exciting one on this list for me because I for some reason just had this like pegged as being expensive like Bloom Tender. Even though this is better than Bloom Tender, so I'm like, it's probably worth more than Bloom Tender. It's not, it's $2.84 for some reason. It's 1 a green and a white for 0/0, Vigilance. Fey Burrow Elder gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. Tap it. For each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. Yeah, it's literally just Bloom Tender with Vigilance that gets bigger. This is insane. I played this a couple times. It has absolutely put in work. I put it in my Kolfenor deck, so it puts in extra work because it's a 0/0 in the graveyard, so anything dying brings it back to my hand with Kolfenor's trigger. So, and it's a tree folk. There's just so much flavor, and it's so perfect for that deck. And again, for under $3, this is such a good card. And then finally, we've got God Eternal Ronus sitting at $4.73. Again, a good $10 to $20 really dropped, so that's always a good thing to see. 3 and 2 green for a 5/5, Death Touch. When God Eternal Ronus enters the battlefield, double the power of each other creature you control until end of turn. Those creatures gain Vigilance. When God Eternal Ronus dies, or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library, 3rd from the top. It's an insanely good card. It's good in Blink, it's good in Reanimator, it's good in tokens, it's good in creature-based decks, it's good in so many decks, and the fact that it's under $5 is insane. I really think you guys should go probably pick one of these up as a win con for your decks. Anybody steals it, you just get it back on your deck. It's just super good. It's resilient, it's strong, it's a win condition, it's under $5. What else do you want? Now, the grand total of all these cards comes out to me being a filthy liar because it's $20.33. I'm so sorry. I feel ashamed. I know you're disappointed in me. I'll try to be better, all right? I'll mail you 33 cents. All right, if you want to pick up all these cards. I felt like removing one of these cards would be doing an injustice for just 33 cents, so I didn't. But if you want just to upgrade a ton of your decks, here's a bunch of cards you can go pick up that have dropped significantly in price. If you're a fan of these kind of series, please comment down below, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Let me know how you're liking the videos. Let me know how you're liking the editing style. I've kind of switched up how I'm editing a little bit. Make sure to check out the comments and interact with the community, or go over to Reddit to r/NixLotus to submit your deck list. I do deck reviews on Friday nights, so if you want to be a part of that, all you have to do is head over to the Reddit. It's in the description, and just post your deck list. That's all you got to do. Anyway, guys, hope you guys have a good day. Much love, and go play some Magic.